Yeah, so it is automatically assumed that if there is a creator who created everything, then that creator can bring somebody back to life without an issue. Now, for me, as a human being, I can go right across the world. I can learn about every potential culture, every potential lifestyle, but ultimately I can have many companions, many wives, girlfriends, call it what you may, but ultimately when I die and I go into that ground, I am on my own. Now, one of the things that I know that logic tells me to address is that if there was a dead body here and I am next to it, what's the difference? Because if it is to do with the matter of the beings, we both possess them. If it's to do with the atoms or the molecules or the particles, we both possess them. So what is making me what we would consider to be alive, and what is making them what we would consider to be dead? What is it? It seems like there seems to be, for me, like I said, there seems to be an external agency that seems to permeate the whole of the body, and when that external agency goes, the body is but matter like everything else.
Yeah, that sounds like a problem of consciousness to me.
Well, the consciousness actually, if you look at the way it's addressed, I respectfully take a different view. You see, the definition of consciousness, no matter what it is going to have to be attuned with the rest of the body and the brain. But the body and the brain are made up of matter.
Right.
Is consciousness made of matter?
I've no idea. I've never explored it, but I would say probably not.
Probably not. But now, if it isn't and it is not associated, then it seems like as though it is external. Do you know, the example I would give is, where's my pen gone? Where's he gone? Someone stolen it. Somebody brought the thing here. Thank you. I do apologize, Jenny. You see, I've got this, the pen. I usually use this example to try and understand what we are discussing. I can only feel the pen if I'm external to the pen.
Okay.
Are you following?
Yeah.
If I was the pen, would I be able to feel the pen?
If the pen, no, you wouldn't.
If I pinch myself, how am I doing it? Is it to do only with the senses? Thank you.
Sorry, repeat the question. If you pinch yourself.
If I pinch myself, will I feel it?
Yes.
Is it only the pain receptors that are sending a message to the brain, or is there something else that is telling the brain that is pain?
I would say no, that's sensory input.
It is sensory input, isn't it? But that sensory input is going somewhere.
To the brain.
What is above the brain? Should we call it consciousness?
I don't know if you can say consciousness is above the brain. And to me, consciousness is more of an internal thing. Like, I can't know you, right? Like, I can only know myself.
Correct.
Because my consciousness, like, I can feel the air when it makes contact with my body, because my consciousness is within my body. Okay? It's confined by my body.
Yes.
Right? So I can't ever know you, I can only ever know myself.
Agreed. But the issue is not that. The issue is, if there's a dead body and I'm here, everything between that body and me is the same.
Right.
What is missing?
I would guess consciousness. But that's the properties we understand it. Maybe a different language will have a different understanding.
True. But then perhaps, maybe, if you think about it that way, then it may be to do with language, or perhaps it may have to do with the fact that there is information available, but it is going against the grain of the way we think.
It could be either, yeah.
It could be, couldn't it? Yeah? So, for example, if we were to take this from what the word scientific is used. I mean, when I'm usually having conversations, I do tell people that the word science merely means knowledge.
Yeah.
The only problem is that in the past 30, 40, 50 odd years, it has taken on a life of its own. In other words, unless it fits within what we call science, it is dispensed with as an idea.
I think it's more than the last 50 or 60
well,
years.
I'm just giving it. Yeah, it's
been
quite a
reaching further back.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Like I said, if we were to do, but the emphasis now is this, that if I were to present a paper and it is not scientific, it would be rejected. If I were to present a paper and it fits within the bounds of what we call science or the scientific method, it will be accepted.
That's based on the idea that you build upon knowledge which has already been attained, right?
True.
So it's through, if you have a paper, the way it is either accepted or not accepted and published or not published is by peer review.
True.
So whatever field of science you're exploring, you have to have some level of approval by your peers within science. And you have to be building on something that they've already studied.
Absolutely. But that is based on the premise that that first instance, it ought to have been accepted as a scientific approach. So if I were to say, okay, you know what, the idea of a soul is scientific, what would the response be?
Well, nobody's done any research into it.
Exactly. And so you can't write a paper to peer review it.
Right.
You can't do that. But the problem is that, look, if a body of knowledge has been excluded by virtue of the fact that it isn't considered to be scientific, then who is losing out?
I think the more important question is how do you test something?
But that is based on the scientific method.
Right.
Now, does it mean that unless and until everything that we know and everything we do not know has to fit within that purview?
Well, there's a reason why you test something, isn't there?
Oh yeah, I've no doubt about the...
Because it's like, if I were to say, try and jump off a building, right? If I know that it's been tested before and that results in death, I might be less inclined to jump off a building.
True.
So if many people have tested it and the majority of people, or well, I imagine, you know, all of them have died, and I know that I don't want to die, I won't jump off a building.
True. But you are actually agreeing with what I just said. The sentiment is that unless it fits within the scientific method, yeah. So, for example, when you said, you know, going up a building, yeah, if somebody has already thrown something and found that as soon as it lands, everything gone, you know you wouldn't take that risk.
Right.
You wouldn't. The issue is not that. There's nothing wrong with that, and the reasoning is valid. What I am saying is that if there is a body of knowledge, yeah, as an example, plant-based medicinal healing. It's not scientific, is it?
I don't know enough about
Right,
plant-based
okay,
medicine.
not to worry. Yeah, basically you have got holistic practitioners.
Right.
Yeah? They are considered to be quacks, yeah? Because this particular kind, not all, some has, yeah, in all fairness, but this particular kind of knowledge is not considered to have gone through the rigorous scientific process.
Okay.
We are losing out on knowledge because we have predetermined whether that knowledge is going to be useful or not.
Right. Well, another example might be within the field of engineering. Like everything that we have in modern engineering has been rigorously, like if you build a bridge, for instance, everything down to like the grains that you put, sorry, not the grains, what am I trying to say? The composition of the cement to build
and the columns, etc.
steel,
Yes.
Everything down to the wires on the railings.
Yeah.
That would all have been rigorously tested beforehand.
Absolutely. Yes.
And I'm like, I don't know how to draw this back to plant-based medicine, but I mean, the thing is, you only know once you've tested something.
True.
I mean,
But if you are not going to be given the opportunity to even test it, what do you do?
And so you find another thing to move on to. If you want to
Unfortunately,
make a living in life,
that's a different matter.
Yeah.
You see, this is the problem I'm addressing. Knowledge. Are you familiar with the distinction between hard sciences and soft sciences?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You've got STEM and then you've got everything else.
Well, the hard sciences are physics, biology, etc. The soft ones are psychology, etc. yeah, they are considered to be soft. The question I ask, and I often ask, is why the distinction between these knowledge bases? Yeah, knowledge is knowledge, isn't it?
Well, but one is about okay. So hold on, let me think of this.
One is to do with physical external elements.
One is about the fundamental building blocks of the universe up to, I think it goes up to biology, and then everything beyond that, there are usually too many variables for it to be considered hard science because it's very hard to prove. So something like sociology, you've got 7 billion people across the world. You can't necessarily predict, how those different people are going to interact in a novel environment, and there are endless novel environments, and so there are endless amount of variables to test for.
Absolutely.
So finding a control group for each one every time is difficult.
Yeah, true. Now, it automatically assumes that the hard sciences are above the soft sciences.
Right. But if
that be the case,
medicine, for an example, right?
I was about to come back.
Medicine is
You're familiar with homeopathy?
Yeah. So, from what I understand, modern medicine is based off of chemistry, right? So, a lot of the medicines we use are, as you say, not plant-based.
Well, quite a few extracts of plants are used in the medicine.
Exactly, yeah, but some, I don't know if I can't use examples because I don't know, what chemicals come from which plants.
Yeah, I understand.
Pills.
Yeah,
we just take plant-based versus pill-based.
Yes.
Chances are a pill that's been manufactured, those chemicals have been sort of boiled down and distilled within a lab, completely abstract from, like salt you can mine out of the ground, that was never part of the plant. If you use salt in a certain pill and that's used to cure a cold, help alleviate the symptoms of cold, you can, it's easy to test.
True. Yeah.
But we have so many plants in the world. We don't know what chemicals are necessarily in them. We don't know how those chemicals interact with the biology of people.
Yeah.
So it's a question of chemistry, biochemistry.
Absolutely. But here is the amazing thing, that when we are talking about information that we are discussing here, okay, it is a given that any knowledge that we possess had started its journey thousands of years ago, where every human being, as he developed, as he understood, we came to know about X, Y, and Z. What I am saying is that there's nothing wrong with that, okay? However, the fact that it has now been reduced to a particular set criteria is excluding vital information and knowledge which, as a matter of course, ought to be included. But because we have got a very narrow view of how knowledge ought to be established.
Why is it narrow?
I'll tell you.
Not following why it's narrow.
I'll tell you. If there's X, we are trying to find out about, and we apply the scientific method to it, and it doesn't fall within the purview of the scientific method, what would happen?
How does it? I don't even understand how it would fall outside of the purview of the scientific method because everything can be tested.
Right, okay. How can you test the soul?